Hey, it's the 27th day I've been doing the Skinny Coach. It's May 1st, and tomorrow is the 28th day. I'm really excited. It's 4 full weeks, and Saturday I kind of I get to see the progress I made. It's awesome. Right now I'm still at my granddad's house. I'm still the official caretaker until this place gets sold. As I said, it doesn't look so much like I'm gonna be the one purchasing it, but that's okay. You can see that that's my granddad's handiwork right there. That's some black duct tape hiding a hole. He was not one to spend too much money on fixing stuff up. But that's kind of one of the reasons I was really excited about getting the house. My brother and I are really close, even though he's a lot older than me. I don't think I've ever mentioned that. My brother's 11 years older than me, 11 and a half. So we kind of had a totally different experience growing up. But anyway, it was going to be really, great to get to fix this house up. Here's another example of my granddad's handiwork. It might be hard to see, but right over there is a green wall with blue. I doubt you can see it very well, but the blue spot used to be a wardrobe that my granddad, instead of moving, just decided to paint around it. And there's a lot of interesting places around the house that we found that, and it's this lovely, awful green color because it was the cheapest thing he could find. Oh, one of the things I love about my granddad, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. He would do absolutely anything for the family. He was a rock. He helped me pay for school. He helped my mom and dad buy cars. He bought my first car. He was a great businessman that almost never spent a dime on himself. He taught school for a long time. He retired. He opened his own business. He ran that business until he was in his 60s, late 60s. And then he sold that business. He bought land and sold it and made all these smart investments. And he was a really shrewd guy, but he never really did anything to, never did anything fancy, never had fancy cars, always drove LTDs, Crown Victorias. He had 3 different models when I was growing up. It was always the older models that he bought real cheap. He was really a guy I could look up to and learn, how to be smart with my money and how to be, financially responsible. He wasn't necessarily the... I don't want to say he wasn't loving. It's not that he didn't show love. It was that, he had a hard time with that emotion, and he had a hard time, showing it. He wasn't I don't know. It's just kind of hard to describe. He was a guy from the 20s, a guy that, fought in World War II, and, I don't even remember him talking to me much until I was 18 years old, and it wasn't out of spite or anything like that. It was, our conversations were awkward. I don't think he just knew how to talk to kids. In reality, our first major conversations were when I was, 16 and learning how to drive. My grandmother had just passed away, and, my mom and dad decided, hey, that's the best way to kind of distract him. And as soon as I learned how to drive, our kind of relationship went back to not much to talk about. But the first time I got a job and, started making money and earning money, that's when he was, he kind of lit up and he was interested and he wanted to talk about it. And he loved talking about school. He could not for the life of him find, he couldn't, everything with him was a serious topic. More than a few times I heard the phrase, and my brother and I heard the phrase, back in the Navy, you wouldn't get away with that. Whenever John and I would, I don't know, we were playful, even though we were, 11 years apart. We'd wrestle and run around and joke with one another and, we messed with one another, and, it was something we tried to avoid doing around Granddad because, he just didn't like it. But, anyway, I mean, like I said, he really was a great person that I learned a lot from. And it was kind of nice. He was, I had my dad that was just, amazing and emotionally supportive and, just a rock of a man. Somebody I would do anything to be like, he was extremely supportive of everybody in our family. He'd bend over backwards to do anything for anybody, and he was a very loving person that, constantly, expressed that and told us how much we meant to him. And, I had kind of, a different relationship with my granddad, but one that was equally as important. And, me growing up, somebody that, taught me hard work and taught me the value of money and taught me, just like my dad, but kind of in a different way, he would do anything for the family. So it was neat having those two kind of great men raising me and being around them so much. Anyway, I was kind of thinking about that and thinking about my grandmother's death today, because I'm kind of a person that's prone to tangents, and I was listening to this song, or I was listening to just my, Pandora on random, and listening to some country music, which I like when I'm kind of in a, happy, sappy mood and want to listen to some love songs and, just good music that's, not pop. Because pop love songs are kind of just, boring and not so real. And I don't know, there's something nice about 90s and early 2000s, Tim McGraw and Rascal Flatts and, things like that. And one of the songs that came on was Rascal Flatts' Sarah Beth. And I think it's also called Skin. And it's a really popular song, but if you hadn't heard of it, it's about this girl that has cancer. And the tangent just it went crazy. I just jumped from one story to the next, all within the frame of the song. I've think about 4 or 5 different topics really fast. And every time something cancer comes up, I obviously start thinking about my dad. And that leads me into thinking about one of my teachers. My dad ultimately passed away 4 years after high school. And I had this band director that was just a really positive influence. I've been around, I was fortunate. I had a lot of positive people around me and good role models growing up, whether it was scouts or school or family. And I just remember the good deeds he did for my family and how much he supported us when my dad was sick, even though I hadn't been a student in over, 4 years. And it made me think, I really hope that down the line, as I grow older and, get healthier and more active and put myself out there, that I can be as supportive and, help somebody in need, specifically, people dealing with cancer and dying, because, it's obvious to say dying's hard and approaching death and understanding it is difficult to do. That's a silly, obvious statement, but experiencing it for the first time with my dad, as in, for years, we knew this was a possibility, and for months, it almost seemed like a certainty. And then the final 3 months, it's now we're trying to accept it. That evolution, you realize, it's one of the hardest things anybody could possibly go through. And I can't even imagine it from my dad's perspective. And I saw it every step of the way, but it was so difficult. And I was just thinking, man, I hope I can be there for somebody like my teacher was for me. And that, kind of jumped over to a new tangent, thinking about this cute little story. I don't think it's real. I think it's just some made up story to teach a lesson, but it was this big brother that was like 6 or 7 years old. They're telling him that his sister's sick and they need his help to make her better, and they need his blood, and they're going to take some of his blood and give it to her, and she's going to be better. And, the gist of the story is this tough little 7-year-old boy misunderstands. He doesn't realize that they're not going to take all of his blood. And they start the procedure and they start taking his blood, and he asks the doctor, what's it going to be like and how long is it going to take before I pass away? And it's, the moral of the story is obviously, this little boy is willing to die for his sibling, his, little sister or little brother. And, how strong and brave he is that he's going to sacrifice himself for them. And, I don't know, it's just this cute little story, but again, it just makes me, think back to my father and, my friend that passed away with leukemia and my uncles and my grandmother. And I just realized every step of the way, my family had, so much support from good people. And, as I get healthier and as I get more active and out there, man, I owe a lot. I owe a lot to a lot of people, and, I may not be able to repay them, but I guess you can, pay it forward, or I really am thankful for the people that were there and helped support me and my family, and, I guess that's kind of it. That was my only point today. It was just a weird kind of strange 4 or 5 minutes to go through all those processes and, thinking all that today during that song. But that's kind of what's been on my mind this evening and kind of continued as I got home. Anyway, tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow is the final day of 4 weeks with the Skinny Coach. And it's, just could not be more excited. Cannot wait to wake up Saturday and, start the next 4 weeks and really get a look at my measurements and all that and see exactly how much I've done. If I had to guess, I'm thinking I lost like 30 to 40 pounds. I don't want to say 50. 50 sounds crazy. It's just, I don't know, maybe 50, but I've lost. All that matters, really, the number really doesn't matter. All that matters is I feel so much better, and I know I'm better, and that's just, it's awesome. I'm really, really excited, and no matter what I lost, I'm going to be proud of myself for what I've done, and no matter what I lost, I'm going to be proud of myself for where I am now physically. And, again, exercising is great. It's really helped me out. But if it hadn't been for the way I was eating and sticking to the Skinny Coach plan, none of it would have mattered. And I know that. I know that everything that I want in life leads directly back to my eating habits and how I control them and how I manage them. And I just couldn't be more happy that I'm working with Tiffany right now and developing a lifelong, I don't want to say plan, but lifelong new eating style, lifestyle. So anyway, tomorrow will be fun, but Saturday, that's going to be the good day. That's the great day where I kind of get to see where I'm at. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Sorry for the longer post, but, I'm just excited. So, bye.